Buckeye Game Day. This is the Fan Pre-Game Show. Here's Chops and Rieser.
The next time Desmond Howard makes a good or original point will be the first time Desmond Howard makes a good and or original point. Happy Saturday, everybody. Eric Rieser, Chops, Jacob Reimer, hopefully rolling along with you until 1:30 this afternoon.
It was kind of fun, though. I got to run the board. I don't know if I've done that in 2-ish years or so. It was just, I hit the button on, and Tim and Mike were able to go, but that was a very, different experience.
In case you missed it, with Timmy Hall and Michael Bennett doing the Fan Sports Saturday Spectacular from 10 to noon, and the producer, Jacob Reimer, had some bowel issues. And, not to give too much more information because I don't want to commit a HIPAA violation on the air, I say we might be with you on till 1:30. Chops and I will be here till 1:30. Jacob Reimer's TBD, but I think you're a trooper, bud, for sticking through it.
I promise I am fine. I will get to 1:30.
Well, and then he was dealing with yesterday, going through all the high school football stuff, and that was cross-studio things, and he was here late, so I get it. It's tough to come back in here and do we used to call that in the restaurant business, clopen, when you would close and then come in the next morning and open. That's what he had to do. He had a clopen shift for a radio station.
It's been rough, I will admit. Through 4 weeks, Ohio State's 3 opponents, which the Buckeyes have outscored 157-20, if my state college math is correct. And yes, Desmond Howard, when he said yesterday, and if you haven't heard the sound, go look it up. I'm not going to play it for you because the less I hear of Desmond Howard, the better my Saturday is going to be. Mm-hmm. But he said, and I'll paraphrase, Ohio State's basically taken the month of September off. Ohio State is a 23.5-point favorite against Michigan State today. Spartans aren't quite there yet where they used to be, that thorn in the side of Ohio State teams with championship aspirations. This is that. Ohio State team, championship aspiration, and team from East Lansing going to East Lansing could be the thorn in the proverbial side. I look at 98, I look at 2013, I look at 2015. This Michigan State team isn't going to be that. So, yes, when Desmond Howard comes out and says Ohio State took the month of September off, it hadn't been great. But 2 weeks ago, Danny Cannell said they needed to play somebody with a pulse. Danny Cannell wasn't even the first person to say that this Ohio State schedule stinks. Every single person that you have heard on these very airwaves has said the Ohio State schedule before the Iowa game on what would it be October 5th. Woof.
Yeah, no, it's not great. We've been saying that on our sports leisure. And
every time we've taken the air for an Ohio State game day or preceding that, it's been, the schedule's not great.
And the part that makes it so dishonest from Desmond Howard, and we know this from him, is Michigan had basically the carbon copy of this schedule last year, and then they used that to springboard their season, and then they got into Big Ten play and played some tougher games. Obviously, the Ohio State game up in Ann Arbor, they won, but that was a very close game, came down to the last drive, and Ohio State will have tests on their schedule. Like you said, the Iowa game coming up next week, Oregon the next week, Nebraska's playing well, Penn State's still on the schedule, and of course, Michigan at the end of the year. But there usually is a team that ends up like this, and I have no qualms with where Ohio State is in the rankings. They've actually dropped back to number 3. Texas has jumped up to number 1. Good on Texas. They went up to Michigan, and they beat the Wolverines, so I'm okay with that. Ohio State, no, they haven't proven anything. They've just proven that they are capable of going out and taking care of business the way that they should against these opponents, and now the Big Ten schedule starts. But it's weird because, yes, he is right that the schedule has been lackluster. But he has to be honest with himself that Michigan had the same thing last year, too.
Well, it's a thing where Desmond, and this afflicts some of the other players on College Game Day, they're just not honest. And so for the Buckeyes, the only thing you can do is win the games in front of you. And so, again, I go back to the scoring margin, 157-20.
It's pretty good.
It's as Bo likes to say, you've acted accordingly against foes of lesser talent, of foes of lesser coaching. This looks to be a similar situation today in East Lansing. It's going to be a 7:30 kick. I know when the schedule initially came out, it was 7 o'clock, and then Peacock moved it back because they're a streaming service. They can do that. And then I also think they want to allot some extra time for Notre Dame and Louisville if, in fact, they do need that extra time. So, fine. You have your 7:30 kick today. You're a 23.5-point favorite. Go and act like it. Go and act like the third best team in the country. Go and we'll talk about the strength of Michigan State, I think, is their defense, their rush defense. They have a good quarterback in Aiden Childs, but he loves to give the ball to the other team. Exploit those.
What you just said about Peacock also made me think, I wonder if this is a plan to hopefully fit that in, because I've experienced this with streaming a lot. I'm sure other people have. A game ends, and even if you're watching on, say, the Fox app or the ESPN app, the game ends and the event just ends. It just starts playing that your event has ended screen. I wonder if Peacock is going to actually try to roll it like Peacock is a channel, that like the Notre Dame game ends and they send it to East Lansing and you go to that, and that would be almost, it would make it a little bit easier for people to transition, jump into the pool of streaming if it feels more like a channel, and just keep it locked here on Peacock. The Ohio State game's up next. I wonder if that's their plan.
So, humble brag. I have Peacock. It's okay. It's okay. I'm of modest means. I'm a very humble person, but I have actually, it's not even mine, but I have Peacock, and they do, they have in recent months tried to go down that road of actually offering live channels. They have like the Dan Le Batard show. They've got Pro Football Talk. I think Florio and Sims do that. And so they try to make that look with the Dan Patrick show.
They play the Hallmark movies all day long, too.
They have one of those that like flows much like a regular NBC or the old NBC Sports would do. But I think to your point, after Notre Dame and Louisville goes final, they say, now we send it to East Lansing. Here's Andrew Siciliano and Colt McCoy.
Right.
And they try to make it look like as much of a live production as possible. So that's what you'll get to see with your eyeballs today. The weather doesn't factor to be too rainy. It's going to be cloudy and stinky. So kind of like the perfect weather for what you would think of at East Lansing, Michigan.
Yeah.
The last Saturday in September. Like it does fit with this. The Big Ten opener for Ohio State kind of fits.
It does always feel like it's gray and gloomy whenever the Buckeyes go up there, whether it's in October, November, or September even here. For some reason, we talked about that 2014 game yesterday on Bishop and Friends. So that game obviously stands out in my memory too. But for some reason, and I think it's because you remember it being with like the guys out for COVID, is Justin Fields going to play? What's going on? That one, the 2021 where they went up to Michigan State and they just rolled them.
Yeah.
For some reason, that one sticks in my head. And maybe it's because the stadium was empty the entire game instead of just the fourth quarter like it is the last few times they've played with actual fans in the stands up at
I had to do some digging, and so it was 1997. And, I might have even gotten the year wrong. There was an Ohio State team that went up to East Lansing. I think the Spartans were ranked like 13th. I think Ohio State was a top 10 team, and the Buckeyes won like 37-13. And I remember being at that game. And it was kind of similar weather, where Ohio State rolled early. I think this was the year before Sparty came into Columbus and upset Ohio State's season. But I remember being up there and it being cold and rainy. But there being a smattering of Ohio State fans left, and you're up 20 points, and it's OHIO in different portions. And that factors to be what we see today.
Yeah, and I bet Buckeye fans are kind of happy to hit a road game because we just talked about
You got to go on the road.
Not only was the out-of-conference schedule lackluster, but it's all those MAC-type level schools, so they all came to Ohio Stadium. They haven't been on a road. They haven't been on the road yet this year, and this is only one of four. So they've got Michigan State up in East Lansing today, obviously out at Oregon. That's going to be a hard one for a lot of people to get to. Much easier to get to Michigan State. At Penn State, that can be a headache, and then Northwestern in Wrigley Field. So if you were trying to do a road trip for the Buckeyes this year, this could be your best bet, especially the Penn State tickets probably already exorbitantly priced.
So for Ohio State being at 7:30, I think that fits today, as you have a couple of games that precede the Buckeyes and the Spartans that are of great interest. Right now we're looking live to Ann Arbor, where Michigan's hosting Minnesota for a jug.
Little brown jug.
Do you put anything into the jug? Like, does the winner get moonshine in the, like apple pie moonshine? I know in Western Ohio, that's a popular drink. Shout out to the people in Van Wert. I don't know where they make it. I hope it's not the bathtub, but you have it with the jug and a couple X's on it. Boy, that puts some hair on your chest.
That's what I was thinking.
You couldn't put anything like good in it. You got to put something that, that's high proof.
All right, so from Wikipedia, it's a trophy contested between the Michigan Wolverines and the Minnesota Golden Gophers. A little brown jug is in earthenware jug that serves as a trophy awarded to the winner of the game. It is one of the oldest and most played rivalries in American college football, dating to 1892. The Little Brown Jug is most regularly exchanged rivalry trophy in college football, the oldest trophy in FBS college football, and the second oldest rivalry trophy overall, next to the 1899 Territorial Cup, which did not become a traveling/exchange trophy until 2001. Contested between Arizona and Arizona. Who would have?
I would not have had that. You had me thinking that was something like Colorado and Utah.
It says Arizona State did not become a four-year college until 1925, but they started playing for this cup in 1899. I will let you know if I find anything about drinking out of the jug.
But it's scoreless, and Minnesota just punted, so we'll keep you abreast again as that game's just getting going from the Big House. You've also got Ole Miss and Kentucky. That game, again, 30 seconds into it. Ole Miss has the ball in those gorgeous baby blue uniforms.
Did you see Lane Kiffin on game day today? He was...
Go ahead. I'll explain in a second.
He was the coach they threw to. They always do that. They go to another.
They go on the field.
Yeah, they go to another ESPN game that's coming up at noon from game day, and they talk from their desk to him on field. There's always a little bit of a delay getting it because it's like he's like got AirPods and he's just doing a phone call essentially. But they get it to work. And Lane Kiffin, he seemed very at ease out on that field today. He looked great. He was wearing these khakis, had this nice sport coat on, had his hair perfectly coiffed. He was ready for it. But yeah, I think Ole Miss is going to roll in this one based on that demeanor from their head coach.
Their offense is tremendous, and Kentucky's Kentucky's good. But I think Ole Miss, this feels like Ole Miss could name their score against the Wildcats. But you also got Kansas State and Oklahoma State. Cowboys are ranked 20th. They're in Manhattan taking on the 23rd ranked Kansas State Wildcats. A couple of Big Ten games going on right now. Maryland at Indiana. Hoosiers are 4-0. Nebraska at Purdue. Purdue's really bad. And Nebraska, I can't get over how eerie Dylan Raiola is in comparison to Patrick Mahomes.
He's purposely trying to do it.
Is his brother tall and weird?
Yeah,
like Jackson Mahomes?
Looks exactly like Jackson Mahomes. 100%.
So he got an offer, I think, from Nebraska.
Mm-hmm. I think he committed to Nebraska.
Committed to Nebraska because, of course, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Speaking of which, now this is an AI overview from Google, so who knows how accurate it is. But no, they do not drink out of the little brown jug. It is a trophy, and it's awarded to the winner of this game. It was originally something they drank out of because it was originally purchased to carry drinking water for the Michigan team before the 1903 game against Minnesota. So that's where it comes from.
Okay.
But now they do not drink out of it.
All right. Well, they should.
I call that quitting.
I agree. Every cup or every trophy that is drinkable, you should be able to drink out of it. I will sometime later in the show express my displeasure for the premier college football preview shows, both College Game Day and the Big Noon Kick this morning. Like I tried, there was one point with each of them, I just had to turn it off and didn't go back to it. But we are going to go and talk about Ohio State's game tonight because there's a strength for Michigan State and there's a strength for Ohio State. And I do think this is when Ohio State becomes the fully armed and operational battle station that we projected in August. That's next at Sports Saturday on The Fan.
Wake up with the Fan. Eat lunch with the Fan. Go to bed with the Fan. Dream about the Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. Green & Sons has all the Kubotas you need to tackle your land and come out a winner. They have zero-turn skid steers, tractors from 18 to 171 horsepower, and also utility vehicles. My favorite is my RTV Sidekick. The best thing about Green & Sons is they've been family-owned and operated since 1970, and you will love dealing with the Green family and their winning team. Do what I did and check out Green & Sons located at Mount Sterling and Marysville or online at greenandsons.com for all your Kubota needs.
Hi, this is Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers. As a local family-owned business, we understand the importance of celebrating the ones we love. Stop in to find the perfect gift or check us out online at worthingtonjewelers.com.
Order like a champ at Raising Cane's. With tailgates of hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade, you can guarantee victory for every game day meal. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Breaking gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Terms and conditions apply.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Consider yourself a bourbon connoisseur? At Twin Peaks, we are proud to offer an exclusive and extensive collection of some incredibly rare bourbons, whiskeys, and tequilas. Plus, check out our barrel selects that are handpicked by our team and bottled just for you. Cheers!
Shop new dollar deals at Meijer. $1 is all you need when you shop hundreds of participating items, like select bell peppers, Swanson broth, or Campbell's soup, and 1.25 liters of Coca-Cola or Pepsi products, all just $1 each. That's it. Pay just $1 on select items with Meijer dollar deals for a limited time. Limit 10 per item. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in store or in the Meijer app.
Start Reaction Monday off in style with Bobby and Beam on Morning Juice. They're talking Buckeyes at 6:20, 7:20, and 8:20, and probably all the other minutes in between.
Reaction Monday is sponsored by the Roofing Guys.
The Fan.
Your local Rite Aid might be closing, but don't worry. It's easy to transfer your prescriptions with GoodRx. First, check prices at GoodRx.com or on our app. Then show your coupon to the pharmacist. It's that simple. GoodRx can save you up to 80% on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, GoodRx is free, and it works whether you have insurance or not. Download the app or visit GoodRx.com today. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns for its biggest year yet. For the first time with Metallica. 2 nights, 2 different set lists, no repeat weekend. Plus exclusive Metallica experiences. With Rob Zombie, Alice in Chains, and over 100 more bands to be announced. 4 days, May 8th to the 11th at historic Crew Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. Select passes on sale now at SonicTempleFestival.com.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just the slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Time now to get a look at that 10 TV weather impact forecast. Today, looking at clouds and showers. It won't be quite as windy as yesterday. Looking at a high around 74. Tonight, cloudy with a few showers, low around 60. And then heading into tomorrow, we're going to be looking at a much drier day, although there could be a few showers from time to time with highs in the low 70s. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Just because it's the weekend doesn't mean we shut up. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
Yeah, I don't feel good about anything. That's just my mindset. Yeah, I mean, I don't. That has to be everybody's mindset. You start to feel good about something, and complacency can sneak up on you fast. So nobody feels good about anything. I think we're building confidence in it, though. I think guys are starting to. Okay, we can get after some people now. And they're starting to have a little bit of fun and say, like, I'm going to line up against you and get after you. And I think, to me, in the way the running backs are running, and that you can feel that's palatable when you're out there. And so we got to keep building on that. Again, bigger challenges are ahead and all that, but that part has been encouraging, I would say.
That's Ohio State's head coach Ryan Day from earlier in the week asked his confidence in the running back room and if he's pleased where they're at through 3 games in 4 weeks. And that's as coachy of an answer as you're ever going to get from anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not pleased about a damn thing. And really,
I think there's some truth to it because coaches never look at anything their team does and says perfection, even after winning a championship. But also, from our perspective, don't we think that some things have looked good? I do.
I think Ohio State's ground attack has looked great.
Yes, the offensive line is definitely better than it was last year at the beginning of the season.
And it does, go to show that the guys that they picked up in the portal were important additions, and they were needed additions. I think you needed to get a guy like Seth McLaughlin in. I think he helped. I think Donovan Jackson. I think having him back, that interior of that offensive line does exactly what Chip Kelly wants this Ohio State rushing attack to do, is to get up the field and to get movement so that he can whatever mad scientist-y thing he's got planned for a backfield that at one point last week included Will Howard, Travion Henderson, and Quinshon Judkins is a nightmare for teams to try to scheme against.
Seth McLaughlin is a really good point to bring up because I think what he did, obviously the center kind of is the linchpin of the offensive lineman, and he stabilizes it, but pair him with Donovan Jackson, plus you have Simmons coming back on the left at tackle as well. Okay, all of a sudden you have 3 of the 5 returning starters. No, McLaughlin didn't start for us, but he started for Alabama for a couple of seasons.
Pretty good school.
Yeah, it's a pretty good program to be a starter of. So you've got guys with a ton of experience, and then you're bringing in some younger guys. So instead of 3 out of 5 being new guys to the offensive line and trying to gel, you've got 3 out of the 5. That one player swung the offensive line really in more to a veteran group rather than a newcomer group. And that was a big difference for the Buckeyes.
And I think for today, that's really what you're really going to see Ohio State do is I think try to establish the run early and often. I think they're going to, like they did last week, try to get Travion and Quinshon double-digit carries. And I think they're going to say, you guys do the rest. And it still feels like the guy, the poor Marshall player that Quinshon stiff-armed into the planet, is still like traveling towards the Earth's core as we speak.
Have we seen the vaunted spin move yet? The one that he says the video game doesn't quite capture the essence of. I don't have a memory of a Quinshon spin
And I
yet.
feel like you would.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get some, and that could happen today, because this does feel for Ohio State, the strength of that offense is its running attack.
And they want it to be, too.
And it's bonkers to think about who you've got at the wide receiver spot and what they've been able to show through 3 games in 4 weeks. But that rushing attack is what's going to lead Ohio State. If they want to summit college football's mountaintop, it's going to be because of Travion Henderson and because of Quinshon Judkins. And now you factor in the running ability of one Will Howard, and that can be something that right now Ohio State, the 14th best rush attack in the country in terms of yards per game, but they've got 7 yards per attempt, which is second in the country, and it leads the conference. That's going to go up against a Michigan State rush defense that's best in the conference. Their defense is 14th in the country, and they allow just shy of 99 yards per game on the ground. Something's going to give there.
I would,
we know what it is.
I'm going to lean the Buckeyes on that one. And another reason why, because you look at that yards per carry average, and I've talked about this, a little bit of that is bolstered by some big plays. But remember, Quinshon actually had an 80-yarder taken away. But I encourage you to really watch some of the more normal-looking running plays. Now, it'll be a tougher test against Michigan State, but especially in those first 3 games, the Buckeyes really were getting 7-8 yards a carry. This wasn't just completely bolstered by big plays. It's helped out because they both averaged 12 yards a carry in the game last week. But they truly are just gashing people, immediately getting to the 7 level and setting up the Buckeyes for a 2nd and 3, a 3rd and 2, that kind of stuff. The run game has been so effective. And yeah, I agree with you. I think they're going to ride that. And they kind of quietly bringing in Chip Kelly, bringing in Quinshon Judkins, securing the offensive line. They quietly zagged, and I don't think anybody really noticed until the season started, maybe even not us until the season started, because of all the talent they still have on the outside and how focused we are on bringing in Will Howard, upgrading at quarterback. Kyle McCord didn't do enough for them last year. And now all of a sudden, they might actually be a running team. They just can throw too, which means they're going to be really hard to beat on the offensive side of the ball. Again,
Terrifying for Jonathan, not T-Bone Smith, to have to deal with for his defense, but the front 7 for Spartans is their bread and butter. They have 15 sacks on the season. That leads the conference, tops in the nation. 32 tackles for loss, also tops in the conference, also leads the nation. So for the front 7 for Michigan State, that's going to be where, if you're Ohio State and you're that offensive line that we talked about, establishing yourselves early and often. And for your quarterback, Will Howard, this is no longer Big 12 play. This is into Big 10 play, and he says he's excited for that opportunity.
I'm really excited. I like I said, I grew up watching the Big 10. I have, Spartan Stadium, this cool place, man. I'm excited. I think it's going to be, a night game. It's going to be fun. It's going to be popping. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a cool opportunity, man. And the non-conference games were fun, but this is we know it gets real, and in the conference, anything can happen. So. We know every week we're going to get every team's best shot, and I know Michigan State's a good team, man. They're a hard-nosed, good playing team. So we're up for the challenge. We're looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to playing my first Big 10 game.
Now, really, one of the key words there from him is fun. Bleep Desmond Howard, bleep Danny Cannell. This team looks like it's having fun.
And that's important. And we're talking about the run game, the way that those two guys have supported each other. There has not been any sort of inkling that they are jealous of one another. And I think for Will Howard, he has said that this whole time because I think it's genuine and it's true. Yeah. He's been very excited to get into Ohio Stadium. Now he's excited to get into Big Ten play. He's from Westchester, Pennsylvania. I knew he's from Pennsylvania, but I was like, where at? It's more East Coast, so I don't know how strong his ties might be to like the idea of the Big Ten, but I think he grew up in sort of a Penn State household, so there's probably just some allure to the Big Ten. For sure, more than the Big 12 probably gave him.
Do you know what Westchester makes me think about? And I'm going to bring in Jacob Reimer here real quick. Do you remember Viva La Bam?
Yes.
That was where Bam Margera did like his entire series. It was in Westchester. That's how I know of that place.
Somebody has to ask Will Howard. He would have been a kid during all that.
Did you ever experience any of that stuff going on? So with the fun portion of this is going to be a long season. If you've played NCAA 2K20, would it be, I guess it wouldn't even be NCAA 2K25. Well, I'm showing my age. The new college football video game. Jacob, have you played that at all?
I played it when it first came out.
Have you done a full season on it?
No, I was using my cousins, and I was just playing a Play Now game just to see what it was like because I don't physically have it on my own console. But
I don't even have the console.
So I don't have the console.
I don't either.
The show's not.
Can we go hang out at your cousin's house? Where does he live?
Clearly not a video game playing show. But when we've talked to people who have played, and they talk about how long the season is playing it as a video game, I think it's going to be more than that in real life. Like the IRL version of this 16, 17 game season is going to be long. And so you want to make sure that you're still having fun along the way. And so hopefully we can keep hearing this from Will Howard a week from now, a month from now. Ace chimes in on the YouTube chat with the Quinshawn spin move. It's going to be as good as the Virginia Tech Braxton spin move.
It's going to be...
He's right. When that happens and when we see it, we're all going to stop whatever it is we're doing. Like if we're taking a chip and dipping it, that chip's going on the floor.
It's going to be Mugatu when he first saw Blue Steel from...
That's what I'm talking about, baby!
Yeah, right.
Like that's the kind of thing that we're going to see from this. And so you have that to look forward to with, again, which is nice. But for this Buckeye team going into Big Ten play, getting into a Michigan State team that's going to want to muck this up for Ohio State. What Marshall did last week in the entire game, really, because I think it was 6 plays for Ohio State in the first quarter because they had that Marshall opening drive that took forever. Mm-hmm. That's, I think, the recipe that Michigan State's going to try to do. And here's Will Howard, the quarterback for the Ohio State offense, talking about Spartan's defense.
They got some good players up front. I think they got some good players in the secondary as well, just in watching some of their games from this year. I think their scheme's pretty good. I think they do some good things. They heated up Boston College a little more than they heated up the teams that they played in the first 3 weeks. So we got to be ready for whatever their plan's going to be against us. But they got some good players. I think number 2 is a really good player off the edge. I think their linebackers are they've been playing a while. They're good players. They're instinctive. They play downhill really well. But I think we got some things to try and get them confused, get them out of gaps, and I got all my faith in the O-line, and I think they're up for the challenge. I know it'll be probably the best front that we've seen so far, but I think we go against the best front in the country every single day, and I think that helps our offensive line, and I think it helps all of us to just be ready for anything.
Speaking of that Ohio State front, speaking of those silver bullets, they got some good news earlier this week. We'll tell you what's going to happen tonight with that and check in on the Jug. All that next. Sports Saturday on The Fan.
If you're starting your day any other way, you're doing it wrong. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan.
Taking out the trash. That's what we're all about at Bourne Brothers Waste Services. This is Justin Bourne,
Zach Bourne, and Jacoby Bourne, former Ohio State football players.
We are your company for all of your trash and recycling needs.
Providing services that include front-load containers, mini and large roll-offs, and compactors. Contact us today for the best service in town. Bourne Brothers.
Bourne Brothers.
The real local trash company.
Taking out the trash.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers and hot dogs on the grill, and a delicious, refreshing Pepsi Zero Sugar in your hand. Sounds nice, doesn't it? Burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Pepsi, the official beverage of Grill's Night Out.
Ohio, ready for some quick mental health facts? Let's go. Nearly 2 million Ohioans live with a mental health condition. In the U.S., more than 50% of people will be diagnosed with a mental illness in their lifetime. Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide. So why are some of us still stigmatizing people living with a mental health condition when we know all of this? Let's listen to the facts and beat the stigma. Ohio, challenge what you know about mental health at beatthestigma.org.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. We have a lot of football happening. I'm here to help. Set your radio preset to the Fan. Very good. Now set a second one to ESPN Columbus. It's the HD2 button. Lastly, go to the Fan's HD3 and save the Fan 3. Crisis averted. You're welcome.
Let's get something straight. I'm not here to convince you to use cannabis or to try cannabis. I'm here to tell you that since medical cannabis is legal in this state, Verihill can help you get your medical cannabis card with no hassle if you qualify. Just go to Veriheal.com, meet with a state-licensed medical doctor online, and, if approved, get your card. There's no fee if you don't qualify, so check it out today. Veriheal. Veriheal.com.
Ready to be the change and have a positive impact on your community? Consider joining the Columbus Division of Police. Starting pay is $70,000 plus, growing to 6 figures after 4 years of service. We offer paid vacations, paid holidays, and health insurance. Do you aspire to complete your degree? We offer 100% tuition reimbursement after you complete your first year of service. Contact the CPD recruiting unit at jobs@columbuspolice.org or apply online at columbus.gov/government/jobs. The City of Columbus is an equal opportunity employer.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with the sound of freshness. With new low prices on hundreds of your favorite produce items, so you save on all the crunch, all the flavor, all the just-picked goodness you love. Surround yourself with savings every time you shop with new low prices on apples, carrots, lettuce, celery, and more. Enjoy fresh savings on fresh produce at your neighborhood Giant Eagle.
Hey, it's Anthony Rothman for the Bath Authority. It's time to make your bath and shower something you really love. Something so great, your singing in the shower comes from a genuine place of happiness. Don't keep staring at that outdated bath, the mold, the mildew, the broken tiles. Every unit from the Bath Authority is custom built. You choose the premium accents and accessories. Right now, get free installation on your new bath or shower, plus 36 months of 0% interest. Visit thebathauthority.com. That's thebathauthority.com. A better bath awaits.
Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns for its biggest year yet. For the first time with Metallica. 2 nights, 2 different set lists, no repeat weekend. Plus exclusive Metallica experiences. With Rob Zombie, Alice in Chains, and over 100 more bands to be announced. 4 days, May 8th to the 11th at historic Crew Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. Select passes on sale now at SonicTempleFestival.com.
Instead of annoying national people talking to you this weekend, we've opted for annoying local people. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
I think it was last week for BYU. The Cougars, who are an independent, no, they're in the Big 12. Mm-hmm. The Cougars beat Kansas State 38-9. And I thought to myself, well, that's the game BYU has. I feel like every season they just whoop somebody's ass unexpectedly.
Usually like a lower ranked top 25, but yeah, it's like a top 25 team that come, and then they just.
And it reminds you, oh, yeah, that's right. Brigham Young's, they're a thing.
I feel like that was on a Friday night last year.
Sure, but they're right now putting the boots to Baylor. It's 21-0 with about 3:30 left to go in the first quarter. They're whooping down on Baylor. And BYU right now 4-0 in the Big 12. They've got that game against Utah coming up on November 9th. Winner there's in the driver's seat for the conference and for a guaranteed spot in the college football playoff. Like
yeah,
you win it and you're in it.
The crazy thing about last week, too, against against Kansas State is BYU was outgained 416 total yards to 241 at home by Kansas State. They just had like block punts, they forced fumbles and ran it back and just kind of took care of that with the possessions there.
So it was all just delivered to them. But yeah, the biggest thing here too is how bad this Baylor team has gone. Because I was looking through that BYU schedule, like, well, what were some of the other ones? And I found this. They played Baylor just a couple of years ago when Baylor was number 9, and now Dave Aranda has basically just cratered them into what is probably the worst team in the Big 12. And I don't know how long the former LSU defensive coordinator is for the Baylor job at this point. I don't think it's going to get any nicer this season.
No, that's one of several games going on around the country featuring ranked teams. But yeah, when you brought that stat up to me that they were up 21-0 in the first quarter, I was like, oh, well, things are going very wrong in Waco.
Yeah, it's at Baylor.
So I can't imagine. Yes, you're right, Dave Aranda, around for long. If he's, I feel like Florida's going to continue with Billy Napier through the remainder of the season.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a president right now.
And if they do mix in Lagway, does he play better? Do they want to make sure that they can keep him around? Is that something that if you keep Napier around for the whole season, that makes that easier? Decisions, I guess. Plus, they're probably still paying Dan Mullen.
So, right. It's like, how many coaches are you going to pay to not do your job? Like, if Florida's got the toughest schedule in the country, I still think they've got Ole Miss on that thing. And just lose. And just play Lagway, try to not get him hurt. Maybe develop Mertz into he can pop in the portal again.
He's got to be done, right? Isn't he? He's at least in his 5th year.
What do we know? There's a development with that Matthew Sluka.
Yes.
From UNLV that I want to get to later on in the program. But speaking of Ole Miss, the Rebels lead Kentucky 7-3. That game's got a couple minutes left to go in the first quarter from Oxford. In Ann Arbor, number 12 Michigan leads Minnesota 7-0. That game is about 2 minutes left to go in the first quarter. 7 all right, still 7-0. Did he shank a field goal?
Yeah, field goal goes wide right for Minnesota there. About a 50-some yarder. You know what's crazy to me? In our lifetime, how much more acceptable a 50, 52, 55-yard field goal has become. It's 60 is the new 50 in field goals, especially in the NFL, but even in college a little bit.
If you're anywhere near the logo now,
people will think about it.
Kick the damn thing. Especially Michigan's dumb block M takes up 30 yards.
Well, hey, stones and glass houses. How big does the block O look?
Less. I have no idea on that. If Jacob, you could check on that outrageous claim that I just made. It might get outrageous for Ohio State in terms of scoring on Sparty tonight. Like, if everything goes to plan, Ohio State covers in this ballgame. I think they were 1-2 against the spread this season. But for the Buckeyes and with the defense you saw last week, I think that's really where if you can pitch a shutout against Michigan State in one of the halves, we'll feel pretty good about it. You'd like it to be the first half, but for the Buckeyes and what bugged the hell out of me last week against Marshall was they just could not get off the field on third down.
Right.
I think Marshall ended up being 7 for 17, but it felt like in the first half, every time they were third and distance, they converted. I think twice they converted in the Reds. It was a 3rd and goal, and they scored the touchdown on that play.
It's probably what ended to Stone Earl having to leave the game because he was picking it up on his feet a lot, not the most accomplished passer. And that's something that it's weird. Like, you're worried about it with Aiden Childs, but he seems to be somebody who likes to dance around, create, and still look downfield to throw it. He's got a huge arm. It's not the most accurate. He's the 2nd worst interception thrower so far this year with already 7 picks on the season. But I'm really interested to see with the Buckeyes defensive line, especially their front 6, what that's going to look like. Can JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer get in there? Tyleek is supposed to play for the Buckeyes, so that's a bolster up the middle. What is that going to look like against a quarterback who is fleet of foot, but also keeps his eyes down the field? And how does the defensive backfield respond to that? Because we haven't really seen that yet, where the defensive backfield has had to guard a play for 5-6 seconds so far.
It's the interesting, I think it's an interesting strategy for Jonathan, not T-Bone Smith, because you saw in the Akron game with Ben Finley, who was trying as much as he could to be mobile. Then he ended up dead. Last week with Marshall and Stone Earl, his running ability was what gave Ohio State fits and was able to keep the Thundering Herd at least closer than you would have liked in the first half. Buckeyes ended up pitching a second half shutout, mostly because they killed Stone Earl dead. If you're Jonathan, not T-Bone Smith, you've got Aiden Childs, who's going to be the catalyst for this Spartan team. You're right now sitting 3-1. how much are you going to leverage his health now to beating Ohio State? And if he ends up killed dead, then the rest of the season falls apart for you.
And for a team like Michigan State, that's why we talked about, well, how much are they just going to try to run the ball, maybe keep the ball away from Ohio State's offense? Just
Probably
keep it respectable here because they've got 3 wins already. So they're only 3 wins from bowl eligibility. Haven't been to a bowl in a few seasons. That's something that you want. It gives people it gives you extra practice time for a first-year head coach especially, but just also something for the fan base to be excited about that month of December, and then you lead into a bowl game. But I don't think those wins are coming in really the next 4 weeks. It's Ohio State, Oregon, Iowa, Michigan for them.
You will need Aiden Childs to be competitive in those contests.
Honestly, I don't know. Yeah, you will.
What are you trying to leverage today?
Like, maybe they're good enough to beat an Iowa or a Michigan. I do not think they're going to beat Ohio State or Oregon in the next 2 weeks. And then even after that, it's Indiana and Illinois. Purdue is their only game where I think they would be covered, where I think they would be the favorite the rest of the way, because they finish up the season against Rutgers, who is definitely playing better than Michigan State right now.
Yeah, just looking at Big Ten scores, because Purdue is hosting Nebraska. That game just began the second quarter. It's scoreless. Same. Indiana just scored on Maryland, so the Hoosiers lead there 7-0. Hoosiers look to improve to 5-0 on the season. Again, like we had said before, Michigan leads Minnesota 7-0. I referenced that because as you're looking through your schedule on the YouTube chat, Ace chimes in again, and thank you so much for. We're on YouTube if you didn't know. So thank you for Ace. Thanks J-Dog for chiming in on the chat. But Ace asks, what on the schedule do we want to be the tester game for Ohio State? He adds, we don't want a team that's waltzed all the way to the Michigan game. I at least want them tested before that. And I think that could be right before. It could be Indiana. I think it will be Oregon. I think you're going to test the week before Oregon against Iowa. And Nebraska, and you got the Pat Mahomes wannabe quarterback. Those are all, I think, those fit the tester game mold.
It's at Penn State, though. Those games can usually give the Buckeyes don't lose a lot to Penn State, but they've played a ton of close games with them, and this might be the best Penn State team we've seen in 4 or 5 years right now. So I think that's going to be the one that, that's what I think Ace is trying to say. He wants a 4-quarter game where they're pushed and they have to go out there and win the game late. Something you mentioned Nebraska earlier, something they weren't able to do with their freshman quarterback last week against Illinois, close out the game. So are the Buckeyes able to do that? Because this version of Ohio State has not come anywhere near having to worry about the 4th quarter. So where is that game going to happen? I don't think it happens today at Michigan State. Iowa normally challenges them in the first half, but then it kind of opens up in the second half because there's only so much Iowa's defense can do, although their offense is playing better. The Oregon game has that chance, but that one's already been circled. So I think I know the Penn State one is, but I think that's the one where it's really going to come down to it, and we're going to have to see somebody. A JT Barrett has an awesome 4th quarter comeback. A JT Tuimoloau out. Has every stat that a defender can get in one game, something like that, and that'll get those guys ready for those tests. But I do like you also circling that Indiana game at the end of the year because they're not ranked yet, guys. They should be. IU is good this year. Kurt Cignetti brought over a bunch of guys from James Madison. They're a good team.
I do think, I think Ohio State beats Indiana, and I'll say handedly near the end. But why I like Indiana to give Ohio State a different kind of challenge and why I had to rage quit from Big Noon Kick. That's next at Sports Saturday on The Fan.
This promo is brought to you by Common Man and Timmy Hall's Ping Pong Game. The Fan.
Common Man and T-Bone here for the Sportsbook, the ESPN Bet Sportsbook inside Hollywood Casino. Yes, they've changed the name.
It is better than ever, but they're still going to have your favorite teams on the biggest screens. You can place your bets, grab some wings and an ice-cold pint, and even hang out with us.
We're going to be there broadcasting live from 3 to 6, Friday, September 27th. And we've got tickets to give away, so come and be with us and hug us.
Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Here on The Fan, we talk about getting rid of joint pain with the regenerative experts at QC Kinetics. There's no surgery, no downtime, just your body's own healing properties working to give you relief. So you can enjoy doing the activities that you love, like the fastest growing sport in the country. That's pickleball. And here in the Columbus area, QC Kinetics is proud to be a sponsor of Paddle Tap's Pickleball Club. Learn, grow your skills, challenge yourself, and meet other pickleball players. Paddle Tap's Pickleball Club features the ultimate indoor facility with 16 state-of-the-art courts. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, Paddle Tap welcomes all skill levels. See what you're missing. Call Paddle Taps and mention QC Kinetics, and you'll get 1 hour of free play, courtesy of QC Kinetics, the people who take care of those achy joints, so you can play for years to come. For details, go to pbtaps.com. That's pbtaps.com. pbtaps.com.
Look what we have here. It's the refreshing deliciousness of a Pepsi mini can. It's the perfect complement to any meal. The dash of indulgence your day was dreaming of. The sip that'll have you singing Pepsi.
Nope, not again, Steve. Let's take a cue from the Pepsi mini can and pack all that awesomeness you're feeling into a much smaller treat for everyone. Deal?
So, big awesomeness, smaller size. I think I've got just the thing.
Pepsi mini can. Mini can, big taste.
At Kroger Pharmacy, CARE is making it easy to get vaccinated. CARE is helping you stay protected from flu, COVID, and RSV. Seasonal vaccines are available 7 days a week with evening hours. CARE is giving you a shot at staying healthy this season. Walk in whenever is best and get multiple vaccines in one visit at your local Kroger Pharmacy. So come and get the protection you need while protecting those around you. Kroger Health, a world of care is in store. Visit Kroger.com/vaccines for more. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See site for details.
Hello, friends. The Sportsbook at Hollywood Casinos, the official sports betting sponsor of Common Man and T-Bone. Watch the games, get in on the action, and admire their AstroTurf. It's Man and Bone approved. The Fan.
Taking out the trash. That's what we're all about at Bourne Brothers Waste Services. This is Justin Bourne,
Zach Bourne, and Jacoby Bourne, former Ohio State football players.
We are your company for all of your trash and recycling needs.
Providing services that include front-load containers, mini and large roll-offs, and compactors. Contact us today for the best service in town. Bourne Brothers.
Bourne Brothers.
The real local trash company.
Taking out the trash.
You reach James. Leave a message.
Hey, it's Annie from Chase. Congrats again on the new home to you, Alina, and baby Maya. So happy she gets a big new nursery.
House hunting? On average, homebuyers save more in mortgage fees with Chase compared to a non-bank. We're with you all the way home. Chase, make more of what's yours. Visit chase.com/wayhome. Source, 2022 Home Mortgage Disclosure Act. Loan application register. Home lending products subject to credit and property approval. Rates and program terms subject to change. Other restrictions apply. Member FDIC. Equal housing opportunity.
Break 365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where Ohio Basement Authority comes in, a groundworks company. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards. Schedule your free inspection at ohiobasementauthority.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Enjoy all the football this weekend, but remember to join us for Reaction Monday.
Sponsored by the Roofing Guys.
The Fan. Sports talk, weekend style. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Yes, you are. I know everybody has their college football Saturday routine. Growing up, at 9 a.m., you were on the couch waiting for college game day.
It was 10 a.m. for a long time, too.
10 a.m. for the longest time.
Yeah.
You were coming to your city was what you started your college football Saturdays with.
You know what's weird about that? They changed that song.
They did.
So it's it's got Hootie in it now, Darius Rucker, and
it's
then
like the NWO. They just keep adding people to that song. You're like, who's actually singing here?
But they still and they've been playing it for over a decade. They still do the once the show they come back with black and white pictures, and then all of a sudden they show something cool on campus, and it like hits the bass drops on that one like EDM song that they keep playing, and then they also do the I got everything I need and nothing that I don't.
Is that when they go to commercial?
Yeah,
and they do like the shot of the crowd.
And I'm like, you've been playing that? Like, why are those songs still around? Why didn't you guys refresh all the imaging for the show? And it's the same song, it's just performed by different people at the beginning.
You will find it does happen with shows that have been around forever, that have been consistently successful. They don't change up a whole lot, and they kind of start to sound stale.
Yeah.
And College Game Day was running into that, and I think the addition of Pat McAfee was good. He's not for me in terms of college football and like what he brings to that, because I think like their panel is like the NWO, where all of a sudden now you've got Hogan and Nash and Scott Hall, and then all of a sudden, like, Conan's there too. I'm like, this doesn't know. We don't need Disco Inferno. I don't think Disco is ever a member of the NWO, but like Buff Bagwell, like, didn't need Scott Steiner either. Like, I just need the 3. And so I don't really tune into College Game Day anymore. I don't need the 9-person panel. I don't want Desmond Howard ever in my life.
It is now at least a background show for me. I'm doing other things in the morning, especially because we usually have an on-air shift, and I know that I'm going to be really into the football. So I put it on, but like I was doing the dishes today. I was getting the show ready. It is not the same appointment for me as it once was. But there also is that factor of doing this job. We're very up to date on college football. There's not very many things that come up on these shows that I'm like, oh, I didn't know that at all. Every once in a while there is, and I was like, oh, that's a really interesting tidbit that I hadn't thought of, or a stat, or just a player that you really weren't that aware of on a team. But for the most part, that's the biggest thing, and why I don't personally watch a ton of like sports TV anymore outside of the games. Because I'm up to date. I'm already reading all this stuff at work all day.
I'm trying to see when the big noon kickoff became a thing. 2019.
Okay.
I thought, a great alternative for people who want a sensible, in my opinion, college football pregame show. And I think it has been a good counter. I don't think it's been nearly as successful ratings-wise as College Game Day. It's still the juggernaut. But I've enjoyed it more than College Game Day throughout the years.
I don't think campuses get excited when Big Noon comes.
It's just not the brand,
yeah.
right? Because again, when you have, when growing up, you had Come Into Yo Cite, you had the College Game Day, and that was the biggest brand in the sport, the biggest overall brand in the sport. Same with ESPN being the biggest overall brand in sports.
Mm-hmm.
So those two things.
Game Day was also the best party. Signs, people jumping into puddles.
And I think that's what Big Noon Kickoff is trying to be. And in recent years, when they've added Mark Ingram, who I think tries to play that Pat McAfee not as well as Pat McAfee, Urban's analysis is always great. I really like Brady Quinn. I really love what Matt Leinart brings. Rob Stone's a fantastic host, and that he's able to work well with the characters that he has. Today they were in Orlando for UCF Colorado.
As one would be, right?
Sure, because, there's nothing going on at the Big House that would be a better game for, I think, the part of the country that they want to try to win.
They must just be tired of going to Ann Arbor. They've been there a lot over the years, even this year already.
And maybe this is
be too.
Hey, there we go. Jacob from the top row.
I already don't like it enough. So I guess, and maybe this is the first year that Big Noon's doing this, but they brought on DJ Khaled, and they brought on Fat Joe with DJ Khaled.
And remember, they have an actual DJ on set, which apparently Game Day does too. I guess we have DJs now for these shows.
And I don't know if you've heard it, but all DJ Khaled does is say his name and win, 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 win. And their performance was just that. Was DJ Khaled with a microphone just saying, "We the best," while his song played. And you had Fat Joe just kind of standing there. And I said to myself, Eric, no.
I didn't realize.
No more are we doing this.
I saw him on there. They were talking to him, and I just didn't really pay that much attention.
There's no connection.
He's like a producer, so like he doesn't really perform. He makes the music.
And then you counter that with ESPN brought Miss Terry out to do the picks.
I thought it was so funny.
That's incredible. Like you can't. I don't know if you can counter with anything bigger than Miss Terry and Nick Saban on the same panel, because that's just entertaining.
In Tuscaloosa, Miss Terry is probably more famous than anybody they could have picked for that. Did you see the Kalen DeBoer interview?
I did not.
That felt a little awkward. They had him and Saban right in the middle. They're all sitting on their like stools, but no desk in front of them. And there was one point where like Nick Saban asked him a question, and it felt like he was really hard trying to figure out like how to stay in between like, I'm sorry to your boss. I'm definitely the legendary coach here, but I'm also a media guy, and I'm just asking you a question. It was very awkward.
No, there's some truth to that. And I think for DeBoer, he's had to navigate one of the toughest coaching starts at any school almost ever, trying to follow that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they've got a hell of a game. If you haven't heard, coming up tonight, it's going to probably need the double screen feature with Ohio State, with Michigan State, with Alabama and Georgia. We're going to get back into those games.
Screen.
Maybe the triple screen. Maybe you're quad boxing it, which God bless you if you can. Like my eyes can't keep up with 4 televisions, but we're going to get to both of those games. And there is NFL action. If you're so interested, the Browns, they're going to Vegas, and they got some maybe good news. We'll tell you what happened for the Browns next. Sports Saturday on The Fan.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants.
The pervert and the skivvies.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
The time to save big is now. It's Ford Truck Month at your local Ford dealer, and the time to buy is now. Make way for great offers across an amazing lineup of Ford trucks, featuring the built Ford Tough F-150 and Super Duty. Check out the versatile Ford Maverick and the capable Ford Ranger. But you can't wait. These limited Truck Month deals won't last. Check it all out at buyfordnow.com. Then get over to your local Ford dealer today. Hurry in, as these deals won't last long.
Hey Columbus, Caden Curry here, Ohio State student athlete for Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. When it comes to hard work, whether on the field or the farm, I need something that's as tough and reliable as I am. That's why I trust Kubota diesel tractors from Green & Sons. Kubota's diesel tractor motors are high-powered, reliable, and don't stop running, just how I like to play. So when you're serious about getting the job done, you need the Kubota equipment you can trust from Green & Sons. Check them out at greenandsons.com or stop by one of their stores in Mount Sterling and in Raymond, north of Marysville.
Hi, this is Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers. As a local family-owned business, we understand the importance of celebrating the ones we love. Stop in to find the perfect gift or check us out online at worthingtonjewelers.com.
Attention Ohio pizza restaurant owners. Tired of glitchy point-of-sale systems slowing you down? Meet Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. With reliable hardware, an easy-to-use system, and 24/7 customer support, Hunger Rush speeds up your operations and boosts repeat orders by up to 10%. This is the restaurant point-of-sale built for pizza. Easily manage your drivers, easily take orders online, easily train your staff in minutes, and easily make modifications. Need to talk to a real person? That's easy too. Top Ohio pizzerias are winning with Hunger Rush. Solutions to help you streamline service, optimize workflows, and maximize profits. Join the thousands of successful restaurants transforming their operations with Hunger Rush for $0 down and $0 a month. Tools for menu management, marketing, customer engagement, and increased upsells, all in one simple platform. That's Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. Schedule your free no-obligation demo at ohiopos.com. ohiopos.com. ohiopos.com.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with savings with new low prices on hundreds of your favorite produce items like pineapples, avocados, navel oranges, and lettuce at your neighborhood Giant Eagle.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. When it comes to being a Newman Roofing customer, you can trust they're always going to put your needs first. They're going to give you the white glove treatment so you feel confident you're making the best decision. So don't just get a roof, get a Newman roof. Give them a call at 614-NEW-ROOF, newmanroofing.com.
Next.
The last thing you want to do is take another trip to the doctor's office.
And sign here and here and here.
Save yourself the hassle by visiting VeriHeal.com to talk to a state-licensed medical provider about medical cannabis. You'll see if you pre-qualify in just a few minutes. Simple as that. That'll make your day go from this to this. Visit VeriHeal.com. VERIHEAL. VeriHeal.com.
Get your game room game day ready with Billiards Plus. Pool tables, shuffleboard tables, and games the whole family will enjoy. Now's the time to get your name on a pool table before the holiday rush. Plus, top-of-the-line grills still in stock. Shop Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. This is the Fans Game Day Scoreboard.
Brought to you by Valley Ford of Columbus.
Good afternoon. I'm Jacob Reimer. Ohio State opens up conference play today with their first road game of the season at Michigan State. Kickoff from East Lansing is tonight for 7:30. We can find coverage here on the Fan starting at 1:30 with our pregame show. Going on in college football right now, Michigan is playing Minnesota for a little brown jug. They lead 7-0 up in Ann Arbor at the start of the second quarter. Also in the Big Ten, Indiana is hosting Maryland, and they are tied at 7 in the second quarter. And a top 25 matchup in Manhattan between Oklahoma State and Kansas State. The Wildcats lead 7-3 early in that one. Later today in college football, 16th ranked Notre Dame hosts number 15 Louisville. Number 9 Penn State takes on number 19 Illinois tonight in Happy Valley. And in the game of the day, number 2 Georgia is in Tuscaloosa for a matchup with 4th ranked Alabama. Kickoff of that game is at 7:30. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Celebrate Buckeye Game Day. This is the Fan pregame show. Here's Chops and Rieser.
I don't know what Jacob Reimer was talking about in the update there. Pregame coverage starts now.
Started a few hours ago.
Started at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Timmy Hall and Michael Bennett.
We're pre-game, and they're pre-game.
They're 5 pre's. We're 4 pre's. Coming up here at 1:30, 3 pre's game show with Matty Ice, DeVere Posey,
which is
Dane
confusing
Sanzenbacher.
because that one's actually called pregame.
It's the pregame show.
But it's pre.
At 5:30, you will have the tailgate show with Anthony Rothman and Andy Katzenmoyer. And then 5:30 to 7:30, you've got network coverage. Skip Mossick, Paul Keels, Jim Lachey live from Spartan Stadium in East Lansing. And then 7:30-ish, the boot will meet the ball between the Buckeyes and the Spartans. Again, Ohio State, a 23.5-point favorite. So look for the Buckeyes, who are 1-2 on the season against the spread, to cover here because, well, when you run the ball, you can, in a heartbeat or in a flash, get an 80-yard touchdown by a Quinshon Judkins or a Travion Henderson. I still do think Michigan's going to try to sit on it.
Michigan State, yeah.
Michigan State. Did I say the team up north?
Yeah, which is, well, because I was, as you said it too,
Several.
it may be just like a Freudian slip in my own head because I was watching Michigan get a strip and a fumble recovery there, as you said it. But I do think that that's going to be, especially in the second half, like they're going to go out there and try to win.
Yeah.
But if it starts to become, like if it gets to like 21-3 or 21-0, I think then you're going to really see them not so much trying to push the ball down the field and get fast, quick scores because I don't know if that's something they're going to be able to do against the Buckeyes, but try to use that run game. They've got 2 talented backs. Their offensive line isn't great. It has some injuries as well. So we'll see how that works out for them. But if those guys get loose, they can get you some. And that's probably like, as the game goes on, the idea of getting 2 first downs a drive and kind of taking off 5 minutes at least. Something like that, I think, is a strategy that they might employ because they're playing all right this year. They're 3-1, and not getting embarrassed by Ohio State is valuable to them in itself. Ohio State's not in a place for moral victories, but Michigan State can be.
I agree. And Michigan State also has a bunch of recruits in town for this. It's obviously a primetime game. They'll have a lot of pomp and circumstance at Spartan Stadium. You heard Jonathan Smith talk earlier this week how games like this are important because he wants to do recruiting similar to Mark D'Antonio in the Buckeye State. You get the talent that's kind of being looked over by Ohio State, that's being looked over by Michigan. You take 2- and 3-star players with chips on their shoulders, with a lot to prove, and you develop them into guys that can come in and be a real thorn in the side of Big Brother and the Buckeyes.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, that was something that D'Antonio was able to do very successfully at Michigan State. I mean, they won multiple Big Ten championships in the championship game era, but you might forget, in 2015, they made the college football playoff. It didn't go well once they were there, but they still made it. The only non-Ohio State Michigan team to make it. That's right. Penn State never made it. Michigan State was the team that did that. And we also saw that in the decades before Mark D'Antonio, the way Michigan had built their program up through the years of Bo Schembechler and into Lloyd Carr by going into Ohio. We're watching a team right now that's been able to do it successfully on the southern edge of Ohio and Kentucky with Mark Stoops. It's a very fertile high school building ground for your teams, and Ohio State, especially because they have now thrown that net across the entire country, don't have as much room for in-state guys anymore. So go and get them if you're a program, especially if you're it's also going to set them up to compete with Ohio State, but can make them better than Michigan again, which they were for at least a 10-year period there until Harbaugh got things back on track.
Well, it does feel like with Michigan State that they don't have any NCAA sanctions looming. They don't have anything like what Michigan is going to be dealing with. Mm-hmm. Because I do believe that the Sharon Moore hiring, and now as the Wolverines take a 14-0 lead on Minnesota, I do think that Sharon's the fall guy in this. Whatever happens with the NCAA, and we don't think the sanctions or whatever punishment handed down is going to be that punitive, but someone's still kind of got to fall on that sword. Mm-hmm. It factors to be Sharon Moore, because I don't know if you saw his offense last week against USC, but if that's what the Michigan man's going to try to do, and they, again, against Minnesota today, it's been a ground attack. But that doesn't work in 2024 if you're trying to if you're trying to make the college football playoff and you go play a team like BYU or you play at Ole Miss, they hang 70 on you.
And remember, Sharon Moore entered the season without actually signing his head coaching contract. And now they've said they've worked through that. And the reports are that there is language in there that something unbecoming, and then you can get fired for cause. And it's like, okay, so they've, not only is that kind of the plan that it seems like from the outside looking in, but they've already laid the breadcrumbs to just do it.
So we say all of that to say Michigan State's got a brighter future ahead of it than Michigan does right now. And I know Michigan did win a national championship last year. So that's what they'll look back on. But looking forward, Spartans feel like they're in a better position because they've got a guy that in this era of college football understands what you need to do to run a successful program. And now when I hear, because they've got 61 new players, this Michigan State team.
But that includes recruits. It's not all transfers, just so
it's a lot of portal persons, though. And some people have said, well, that feels like too much and unsustainable. And it is, except for the first season.
Yeah, if that's what a new coach does and brings guys in, obviously some guys just transfer out when they lose their coach. So that is something that I think is somewhat reasonable for a new coach. But yeah, I hope that Jonathan Smith's plan isn't to bring in 50 plus guys, 60 plus guys every year, because we've seen how
that's the Colorado.
Yes,
the Colorado plan.
Outside of their NFL caliber players, it hasn't really worked out the back end of their roster.
No. So for Michigan, yeah, Alex Orji today, 3 of 4 passing, 25 yards. As again, the Wolverines lead 14-0, but Kalel Mullings has 8 carries, 45 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
I told you
on the ground.
They're going to run all over.
That's going to be the thing. And for Michigan, that'll be fine against a team that can't punch you back. But I feel like on November 30th, when they face a team that will be able to punch and punch and punch and punch, you're going to fall 45-0 because you can't put the ball in the air.
Well, and what are they going to do at a team that can just straight up stop the run that has a very good run defense, because he's 3 for 6 I guess the team is 3 for 6. This said the team is 3 for 6, he's 3 for 4. Maybe some other people have thrown passes.
Sure.
Either way, we're halfway through the second quarter they have 2 touchdowns and they've completed 3 passes for 25 yards. It's not going to be a big part of their offense. The weather today is bad, but based on the fact that they were willing to try out.
No, this is 2 weeks of this.
They were willing to try out Warren at the beginning of the year, who also doesn't look like he's very good. They know. It's not that they are unsure and they don't want to take risks with Alex Orji. No, this coaching staff knows that he can't throw effectively at the college level.
Yeah, it looks like Colston Loveland has 2 of those 3 receptions. The completed passes by Orji. I look over for Michigan State. Aiden Shiles is one of they've got a rushing attack that with Aiden Shiles he's leading the team in touchdowns on the ground. But for the 2 tailbacks you talked about, K'Ron Lynch Adams and Nate Carter. Lynch Adams 5.5 yards per carry. Nate Carter 4 and change per carry. Those feel like stats that Michigan State wants to have duplicate today.
That would be a win.
That's what gets it done for them, enough to where you're keeping an Ohio State offense that at any moment,
not a win
in a bottle,
not a win in the game, a win for them for evaluating. Yes,
and I know that maybe next year Michigan State can be that team where you say, don't overlook them; they can bite you. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case today. With the other game at 7:30 of import to us is Alabama. Is Georgia, that game in Tuscaloosa, the 2nd-ranked Bulldogs and the 4th-ranked Crimson Tide. I'm trying to see right now, the favorite is Georgia. They're a 1-point favorite. I think yesterday it was bet Alabama as a point favorite, and then they were a half-point favorite. But now the Bulldogs today as the point favorite there, which I don't remember the last time Alabama was an underdog at home. Not like it matters, because it is just a pick 'em. At that point,
yeah, I don't. Did they play at LSU the Joe Burrow year? That I could see that, because didn't Tua go down as well? So maybe something like that. But I don't know if that was at LSU or at Tuscaloosa. The other crazy stat, I heard this on Game Day: active head coaches. So they have to be an active head coach, not necessarily at the school that won this game, but Kirby Smart, the only active head coach right now in college football that he's lost to, Tom Herman, when he was at Texas in 2018. The other ones, you've got an Ed Orgeron in there in 2019. There was a Dan Mullen one to Florida, and then a few Saban losses. But yeah, Kirby Smart doesn't have very many people coaching who can say, I've beaten a Kirby Smart coach team right now.
So we're looking back to 2019, where LSU won 46-41 in Tuscaloosa.
I would have spread. Tua didn't play in that game, right?
No, he did. He was 21 of 44 and 18 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick.
Okay, so that was before his injury. So I don't know if they could have been the favorite. What are the rankings on that?
So LSU was 2, Alabama was 3 going into that matchup.
That's for a home game that could easily be Alabama the favorite. If anybody remembers a line from a game 5 years ago, let us know.
I say all that to say this is something that we haven't seen in a hell of a long time with the SEC. Is now that you have 2 of these gigantic powers playing at the end of September, and I'm all here for it.
Yeah, I
want the Big Ten to do this. I want the SEC to keep doing this. I think it's good for us as a college football fan base, but they're probably not going to.
That's the Big Ten. I don't have very much confidence in them getting out there and playing the hits. And Bo I think had some good points yesterday talking about like, wow, this feels different, and it is just different. But I do think you're thinking about what you're losing and not what you're gaining, because yes, you're right. Now we might not have quite as many do or die situations. Other games become bigger though throughout the year. Plus, Georgia and Alabama just don't play each other in the regular season in the old SEC makeup with the divisions. They barely ever played. I don't think Georgia's been to Tuscaloosa since like 2008 or something. It was a crazy stat when I heard it. Whatever it is, it's been a long time since they've been there, because the alternative to not getting this game and just waiting for them to hopefully meet in the SEC championship and having a quote-unquote classic is Bama playing Vandy and Georgia playing South Carolina this week. And I'd rather have this game than those two games. That's, I think, a fair trade-off that is giving us better stuff, because the actual in-game will be better tonight, even if you think the effects of the result won't have as many ripples throughout the college football world. It's still just a better football game, and that's what we're really into, right?
I'm looking live here. Georgia, back in 2007, was at Tuscaloosa for a game which the Bulldogs won in overtime. So I have right now 2007, the last time Georgia was at Alabama.
And they won that game as well.
So Georgia won at overtime. It was Saturday, September 22nd.
Must have been a Stafford
2007
season. I would have. Was that the year they came in number one?
Matt Stafford. Yeah, Georgia was ranked 22. Alabama was ranked 16.
Maybe that was the year before. Maybe they were 08. They were number one.
John Parker Wilson, the quarterback for the Crimson Tide.
I remember that name.
You're the name Manning. It's gonna be arched today for the Texas Longhorns. They're hosting Mississippi State. That game's at 4:15 on SEC Network if you're interested. Looks like they're going to be sitting Quinn Ewers this week. They've got the Sooners in the Red River. Can't call it a shootout anymore on October 12th. So for Texas, for the top team in the country, Longhorns have Mississippi State a bye because Mississippi State stinks. You could have Arch Manning. You could have who was the quarterback that transferred to Duke? He could transfer back, relearn Sark's offense, and they'd still beat Mississippi State by 4 touchdowns.
Yes.
Who was the quarterback? I was hoping you
the one that went to Duke.
Yes.
Malik
Murphy.
I was thinking of Hudson. I'm watching Purdue right now. I was thinking of Hudson Card.
He could come back to Texas, and they'd still do that. So you'll have some more Arch Manning this week, but then they've got a bye for the Longhorns, and then again on the 12th, huge day for football because that's also Ohio State and Oregon. The time for that's still TBD, but the Sooners and the Longhorns, I think that's going to be a 3:30 kick. But Quinn Ewers coming back from an oblique injury for that game there.
I think we're safe that it's not going to be a big noon being out in Oregon. I know they've experimented with the 9 a.m. kickoff time, but that's usually for like, hey, guys, get excited about this, not Ohio State, Oregon, the game that everybody's been looking at all offseason.
I also teased a little bit of Browns. They're taking on the Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders tomorrow at 4:25. You'll have pregame on the Fan at 2:30 following Fan Sports Sunday at 11. On the Money is going to have a 9 to 11 show, so you'll get Dave Biddle and Scotty Vegas 9 to 11 Fan Sports Sunday, then Browns pregame 2:30. On Friday, Cleveland ruled out Jed Wills, Jack Conklin, and David Njoku. Then got some good news as the Raiders ruled out Max Crosby and Devontae Adams. So to the Browns, as a Browns fan, I say this: you better not F this up.
I mean, they were going to bench. They were in between benching Gardner Minshew in the middle of this week. They just lost to Carolina. Like, do this.
Don't F this up.
Like, they stuck with Minshew. He doesn't have anybody to throw to. Their best pass rusher is out. That should make it a little bit easier on the offensive line. The Panthers were able to beat the Raiders.
Devontae Adams is out. When did that happen?
It was yesterday. I'm looking at Ian Rappaport report.
Well, you got to update your fantasy lineup?
I have a team of Christian McCaffrey, Isaiah Pacheco, Joe Mixon, Devontae Adams, and Malik Neighbors, who got hurt on Thursday night.
Joe Mixon's the only guy playing?
No, I think he's out right now.
For the Texans?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
that's a pretty good fantasy team if they weren't hurt.
I'm 3-0. I'm somehow 3-0.
You're the champion of the walking wounded is your fantasy team.
Don't worry. Christian McCaffrey's going to Germany. He's going to get his blood spun. He'll be fine.
Yeah. That makes me feel safe.
Chops, I don't think UNLV is a serious program, and I don't think they are serious about making the college football playoff. We'll discuss that next. Sports Saturday on The Fan.
We're known for 3 things: games, conversation, and common man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Open a Platinum Rewards Visa at Kemba Financial Credit Union and secure super low everyday rates so you can pay down debt faster. Apply now at Kemba.org to unlock 2% cash back on purchases for a limited time and pay 0% interest for a full year on balance transfers plus exclusive perks. Restrictions apply. Offer ends October 31st, 2024.
We're dealing at Reichert Ford.
$2,500 low price guarantee.
With our lowest prices and 72-hour exchange policy, you can't buy the wrong car. Thousands of vehicles are waiting at ReichertFord.com.
Right car at Reichert.
We're dealing.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Your weekend freebie is a free Kroger brand reusable bag. Simply clip your digital coupon and spend $50 or more Saturday or Sunday. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. When it comes to being a Newman Roofing customer, you can trust they're always going to put your needs first. They're going to give you the white glove treatment so you feel confident you're making the best decision. So don't just get a roof, get a Newman roof. Give them a call at 614-NEW-ROOF, newmanroofing.com.
Let's get something straight. I'm not here to convince you to use cannabis or to try cannabis. I'm here to tell you that since medical cannabis is legal in this state, Verihill can help you get your medical cannabis card with no hassle if you qualify. Just go to Veriheal.com, meet with a state-licensed medical doctor online, and, if approved, get your card. There's no fee if you don't qualify, so check it out today. Veriheal. Veriheal.com.
Save big money on everything for your painting and staining projects now at Menards. Add beautiful color to your projects with Minwax water-based wood stain. This penetrating stain delivers color that showcases wood grain in one single coat and dries in 1 hour. Don't forget to check out Minwax's Color of the Year for 2025, Violet. In-store and online at Menards.com. Plus, view the weekly flyer for many more great deals going on now.
Save big money at Menards.
Get your game room game day ready with Billiards Plus.
Pool tables, shuffleboard tables, and games the whole family will enjoy.
Now's the time to get your name on a pool table before the holiday rush.
Plus top-of-the-line grills still in stock.
Shop Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
The Fan app is about to become your new best friend. Your one-stop shop for all your favorite fan shows. ESPN Columbus and BetQL. Live or on demand, listen on your schedule. Download the 97.1 The Fan app today. It's free. Do it.
Hey Columbus, Caden Curry here, Ohio State student-athlete for Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. I've had to be versatile my whole football career. Of course, I'm a defensive end, but I've also played special teams and even played fullback. Whether I'm blocking or tackling, I've got to be ready for any job out there, which is why I love the versatility in Kubota's BXB and L Series tractors. There's no task too big or small with Kubota tractors from Green & Sons. Visit greenandsons.com today, or stop by their stores in Mount Sterling and in Raymond, north of Marysville, and get yourself a Kubota tractor that works as hard as I do.
Hi, this is Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers. As a local family-owned business, we understand the importance of celebrating the ones we love. Stop in to find the perfect gift or check us out online at worthingtonjewelers.com.
Order like a champ at Raising Cane's. With tailgates of hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade, you can guarantee victory for every game day meal. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Your local Rite Aid might be closing, but don't worry. It's easy to transfer your prescriptions with GoodRx. First, check prices at GoodRx.com or on our app. Then show your coupon to the pharmacist. It's that simple. GoodRx can save you up to 80% on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, GoodRx is free, and it works whether you have insurance or not. Download the app or visit GoodRx.com today. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Let's get a look at that weather report today. Clouds and showers, temperatures in the lower end of the 70s. The best opportunity for rain, I'm thinking, is between about 2 p.m. and 10 p.m., although it's fair game that we could have a few showers before or after that time. Heading into tomorrow, it looks a little bit drier, cloudy with a 30% chance of rain, high 72. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Live, local, and still slightly drunk.
I'm not drunk, all right? I just have a speech impediment.
This is Fan Sports Saturday.
All right, we got to have an important conversation. It appears Michigan just threw a touchdown pass.
Kind of. Alex Orji threw it about 3 yards to what essentially is a passing jet sweep, kind of a screenplay, I guess, technically, and then ran to the corner of the end zone, got it at the pylon.
He threw it to the running back at the line of scrimmage.
It was it's one of those extension of the run plays passes, but it does go down as a touchdown pass for Alex Orji, the first of his Michigan career, maybe?
I think so. Well, the first at least of this season.
Yes.
I'm not sure if he threw one last season, but this is breaking news, people.
I'd still go to say that he won't throw more than 50 yards today, though.
No, but that was surprising to me. Michigan was set up thanks to a blocked punt, so the Wolverines lead the Minnesota Golden Gophers 21-0 in the battle for the Little Brown Jug. Is it the
Little Brown Jug? Yes. Okay, Alex Orji did throw a touchdown against Arkansas State, a 28-18 win for the Wolverines. 2 of 4 for 12 yards and a touchdown in that game.
Yeah, Michigan's well on their way to a win over Minnesota, so the Wolverines will be 4-1. I did forget tonight that I'm going to have to figure out between Peacock and actual NBC, because I'm interested to see what happens with Illinois and Penn State.
Well, you should be able to just go between Peacock if you want.
Will it be on Peacock?
Usually whatever they're showing on NBC is also available on Peacock. Yes, they do that because I watch a lot of Sunday Night Football on Peacock just because it's easier. It's always logged in on my computer or my
J-Dog
TVs.
chimes in on the YouTube chat. F Peacock. They're going to start charging per game in a couple years if you fools keep buying their nonsense.
I hope
you're wrong.
I mean, I don't know how
It is nonsense, but
I want to watch Ohio State. I don't know what else. What do you want me?
There's only one other way you can see the Buckeyes. And I cannot condone such behavior on the air.
I don't know if they're going to see. The weird thing is right now with streamers,
we're here on the Fan.
They are loss leaders. They are not making money, just like a ton of things in tech. Most streamers don't make money. So what they're trying to get is subscriptions so that they can grow that, show that to the shareholders and say, see, look, our streaming service is growing. So I don't even know if they're actually going to care about charging for more games. They want the most amount of people, and if you charge individually for the games, it's actually probably less people. It's a very weird. I mean, it's a house of cards right now.
Sucks.
The streaming industry, as far as like making money and being a viable business option, it's not. Only like Netflix makes money, and Amazon does because Amazon just makes money. But I don't know if Prime makes money.
Yeah, I don't. But I also Prime's in its
Prime Video at least.
Prime Video's in such a unique position that I don't think have to make any money because of Jeff Bezos and Amazon itself. But
for the longest time, it's just a throw-in of having Prime.
What were we going to do? I forgot. Oh, yeah, UNLV thing. So the Matthew Sluka news, the quarterback for the Running Rebels through 3 games, through 3 weeks, they were 3-0. Earlier this week, he announced his decision to choose a red shirt and to leave the program effective almost immediately as of Wednesday. So the Rebels have Fresno State today. It's 3:30. That game's on FS1. Fresno State's 3-1 again. UNLV, as I just said, 3-0. Sluka claims that they offered him $100,000 to transfer from Holy Cross, which is in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd have to go all the way across the country to Las Vegas. And when he got there, if you're reading the reports, they only gave him like $3,000, and those were travel fees. And he told the head coach there, if you're not going to pay me, then I'm going to leave. And UNLV tried to spin it, saying no, he just demanded more and more and more because of the hot start that the Rebels are running off to.
And we don't know. Nothing's in writing. I think I'm siding with
NIL.
I think I'm siding with Sluka. That's what it seems like is probably more the truth. But we don't know. Nothing. There's really no paper trail.
So yesterday, I think this was, Brett McMurphy of the Action Network reported that UNLV denied a $100,000 NIL offer from Circa Sports to compensate now former quarterback Matthew Sluka. And the NIL opportunity that Circa wanted to offer was, well, you could be a lifeguard at our pool, or you could be a bouncer for our club. Either way, they were going to give him $100,000 to make up for that so that UNLV would have a chance to earn that group of 5 representation into the college football playoff. which would be huge for a school like UNLV.
You'd think UNLV would understand the idea of like, hey, you can't take the casino money, just launder it through your collective.
Right.
That's a total Las Vegas thing to do.
And nobody's going to ask any questions because all of this is legal. Well, technically. You'd have to investigate it.
It's
but
very...
The NCAA isn't going to investigate something as small as that. They don't have the people. They don't have the resources.
It's crazy short-sighted for a UNLV football program that has never really been good, finally has a little bit of momentum, and they're throwing their starting quarterback under the bus by one, not paying him, and then when he says, that's why I'm leaving, them saying, that never happened. We didn't offer him $100,000. How do you think this is going to go next time you go into the transfer portal and try to get a quarterback?
And also what it does is like Circa is a gigantic organization, yes, with casinos, but with other things that you could easily offer to college athletes to get name, image, and likeness deals for.
Yeah.
Why would you say no to a
Why would you turn down?
Why would you turn this down? It's free money.
It's a great relationship to have with an organization that has a ton of money.
So UNLV isn't a serious program.
Nope.
Is what we've learned this week and what we're still learning. And some of you might have out there been like, oh yeah, UNLV still exists. They had a really good chance to put themselves on the map if, again, the group of 5 representation in the college football playoff is still very much up in the air.
For lots of teams. But yeah, the only ranked team is Boise State, and they're 25th.
So that is, and again, the NIL thing, people crying that it needs guardrails. It will probably get contracts here not before long as name, image, and likeness goes to the schools because next fall they're going to split the revenue from these TV deals.
But they're on employees.
This isn't the fault of the students. This isn't the fault of the athletes. This is the fault of the adults who are choosing not to be adults, if you're wondering what's happening to the sanctity of my college football. So Ohio State, Michigan State. Chops, you like the Buckeyes to cover. I don't necessarily think it's going to go that way. It's mostly to the gimmick. Ohio State should cover this 23.5. Ohio State should establish the line of scrimmage and dominate early. You get Tyreek Williams back on the defensive side, run the damn ball, make this a game to where you can look at Danny Cannell, you could look at Desmond Howard and say, what about now?
It's another cover where, of course, they can. Will they? Well, it only has to get to 24, so I think yes on this one.
Coming up next, we got the pregame show with Matty Ice, Devere Posey, and Dane Sanzenbacher. Then at 3:30, we're going out to the Hollywood Casino, the ESPN Bet Sportsbook, where Andy Katzenmoyer and Anthony Rothman are going to take you to 5:30. The network pregame coverage, Skip, Paul, and Jim have you from Spartan Stadium in East Lansing. Next week, Ohio State, Iowa. That's a 3:30er on CBS. But, of course, like with every Ohio State game, it'll be available on The Fan.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Columbus, Worthington, Air, and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed mold, mildew, bowing walls, or water in your basement? I hope not, but if you have, your basement is losing the war against groundwater. That's where Ohio Basement Authority comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your basement and stabilize your walls. Schedule your free inspection at ohiobasementauthority.com/row.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.